Okay, what's up? So yeah, I keep saying that I want to do this. Oh, hang on. I noticed. Yeah, I think. Why is it so loud? Hang on. Oh, that might be why. Is this better? Okay, there we go. There we go. All right. Well, this is this is a good thing that I should talk about. Okay. I kept talking about how I wanted to make a little tutorial on how to live audio mix, because I found a little trick that I think really helps out, or can help out, with audio mixing. And then also just general knowledge like on how audio filters work in OBS, because I think people kind of know. Let me also adjust this. That should be fine. People kind of know how most audio filters work, but maybe not like exactly. So just like some general knowledge there. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. This isn't, I'm not considering this like a real stream, because it's a tutorial, I don't know. So I'm not making new BGM. I'll do that later today if I stream. I might stream later today after work, but I just kind of was like, I have time right now. I could just do this, get it out. But yeah. Yeah, it's true, there's still streams, but you know. It's not a real stream. I'm not gonna do my usual like oh, it's the start of the week, guys. I gotta make a new BGM. I'll do it later. See, I could have just hit start recording. But I was like, I'll just stream it, who cares? Because then it can also be on Twitch. I can like highlight it on Twitch. But okay. So I'm gonna turn the BGM way down for me. I'll turn up a little bit more. Yeah, Taveshi did cook. Hi, Young Station. Actually, maybe I should get a more chill BGM, because it's just for, it's not a real stream, it's a tutorial. Yeah, I'll do this one. Oh, wait, hang on. I need to, oh, you mother... Can I put this in here? Yeah, okay. We'll get the lo-fi in here. Okay. I'm gonna switch over to this scene, and I'm scared because you're gonna see my whole ass. You're gonna see all of my... You're gonna see my whole OBS. And it's also... Okay, let me do this. Let me put Discord on my other screen, because I'm doing display capture. And then let's just close. Let's put this over here too. Yeah, that should be fine. I got nothing on my desktop. Alright. So if we go over here, you'll see my whole OBS. My mic seems pretty loud now that I adjust the limiter, but it's fine. We'll talk about it. So let's go here. We're looking at OBS. Look at it. You can see my mouse, and you can see it go all the way into the background. Ooh. I was gonna make it smaller so you could just see like the audio meters, because that's all we really need to talk about. But I also wanted to bring up the filters list here, so you can see. So here's the thing about audio that is annoying. Is that how high the audio is on these meters is not actually how loud it is. And it has to do with like physics. So actually, let me stop foobar for a second. By the way, I downloaded foobar. I have Ableton back here, and I have a little synth. So watch this Ableton, watch this Ableton fader here. I'm gonna play a note. Actually, let's play a higher note. So I have this Ableton fader here, And see, it says here minus 20. And also, well, I'll get to it in one sec. It says minus 20 right here. So that's how loud it should be. It should be around minus 20 decibels is the unit of measurement. And it's pretty loud. You should be able to hear it pretty good. But now, what if I do this? I'm going to turn it way down. Now it's really bassy. I'm going to make it even lower. Here, you probably cannot even hear it. If you have like a really good subwoofer, you might be able to hear it, but I can't hear it. But if you look at OBS, look, it's still making noise. And it's still at minus 20. So this is the thing about audio, is that just because something has a high amplitude, meaning that the actual physical waveform is large, that doesn't mean that it's loud, which is annoying because it makes stuff more complicated. Another example, I can go the other way. So I'm playing the note again, and you can't hear it, but it's showing up on OBS, right? It's showing up in the fader. If I make it higher pitched, this probably feels really loud. Sorry if that hurts people's ears. It probably feels really loud, but as you can see, it's the same volume. Yeah, exactly what SumpyCum says. Higher frequencies seem louder. And this is just how the term is psychoacoustics, which is basically how your brain perceives sound. It's just a psychoacoustics thing. Higher pitches feel louder. So I have a nifty little thing here, right to the left. You might have been looking at it already. But here I have a loudness meter, and I will link this loudness meter. It's a doc in OBS. So I'm going to link it. What a loudness meter does is it tries to calculate how loud the audio sounds to the human ear, which is very useful. It's very useful in, like, people use loudness meters all the time for like mixing and mastering, because it's the same thing. You can't really tell how loud something is just from looking at the bars on it, right? You actually just have to listen, or you can use a loudness meter to help you out. The only caveat with this loudness meter is that it only takes the master out, so basically the combination of all of the audio channels. It combines them, and then it gives you the loudness here. So let me show you what I do. So as you can see, I have my mic here, and it's getting pretty high up here. But if we look at the loudness meter, and the one that I'm usually looking at is either momentary or short here. And this is the reason why there's different kind of spans of time in here, is kind of for because usually loudness meters are used for like song mixing or song mastering. And these are really useful for that, because you can check like, oh, overall my stream has been about minus 18 LUFS, which is the unit that we use in loudness. It's just like loudness something, I don't know what it means. It's like a decibel, but it's what you actually hear, instead of just how big the signal is, basically. So I'm usually looking at momentary and short. Integrated is kind of not that useful for a live stream. Peak can be useful. Loudness units full scale, that sounds right. Peak and range could be useful just for your information. Peak is how high the total audio is. It's the highest peak that the audio has got to during the duration that's listening. So this is kind of like the frames and info display up here, where we can reset it. So now it's back to minus 28, and now look, and now it's minus 4, minus 3. It got up to 1 because I put my limiter in the wrong spot. But this is really useful for mixing on the fly. So, for example, my mic here, I try to keep my mic at around between -10 and -20 because it's nice and loud. It's kind of the thing because I want people to hear my mic the most, right, when I'm streaming. Let's get the BGM back in here. So now we can see the BGM is going, but you'll notice as I'm talking, it mixes in, right? So you might hear me sometimes on stream. I'll stop talking for a little bit, and that's usually because I'm checking how loud something else is. So if I'm checking how loud the BGM is, I'll just stop for a second. So right here, it's at like -25. That's a pretty good spot. For like music and like game audio, I'll try to get the LUFS like between 20 and 30. I will say probably more like around 20 or minus, I should be saying minus 20 or -30. -25 is probably better. Because if it's at -20, it can kind of crowd your voice a bit. If you like your game audio on the quieter side, you could probably bring it down to like -30. But from here, I can just easily adjust, like, oh, it's at like -25, let's bring it down to like -30. Let's get in there, it's like -28. So yeah, it really lets me easily adjust between things. I probably should have looked this up beforehand, but one thing to keep in mind with the decibel scale, and I think with the LUF scale as well, is that it's a logarithmic scale, meaning that like a change, I believe in decibels, and I'm kind of assuming it's the same in LUFs. A change of 10 decibels means that if you go from 10 decibels to 1 decibel, that means it's 1/10 the volume, right? That makes sense. But if you go from like 50 decibels to 40 decibels, that also means it's 1/10 the volume. So like small changes in decibel really matter. So even going from like -20 to -30 in loudness is a huge change. So that's just kind of a thing to keep in mind. Is that like, you might be like, oh, -30 isn't that much quieter, but it'll be a lot quieter. So yeah, just generally, I try to keep my mic around like -15 LUFS, and then I'll try to keep my background audio or game audio around like -25, -30 is generally what I go for. Now let's talk about some other stuff too. Let's turn this down a bit. Yeah, like it's at -30. Hi Higa. Just doing a little tutorial stream. Let's look at some filters, some audio filters. So I have a bunch of stuff on my mic. This is all on my mic. Because like mics, with our voices, we want it to be nice and clear. You usually really want to put like quite a few things on your microphone. This is what I have, but you can kind of do whatever. It depends on the microphone too. Mine's a dynamic microphone, which means that it can have a hard time picking up higher frequencies, meaning that like the voice or my voice can be a little muddier. Dynamic microphones are just really easy and simple to use though. You literally just like plug in, it works. There's always a joke where it's like, yeah, you could hammer a nail with a dynamic microphone and it would still work because they're just built like bricks. But they're not always as clear as a condenser microphone, which is usually what people will recommend for like streaming. The thing about condenser microphones is they're very sensitive, which is good for voices because there's a lot of like small, like, like sounds that your mouth will make that want to be picked up by a microphone. But because they're sensitive, that means like if someone in like the room next to you like starts coughing, it'll probably pick it up on the condenser microphone because they're really sensitive. So I just use a dynamic because I don't have to worry about like the noise bleed as much. But it's kind of up to you. There's good options for either, really. So we have some filters here. Let's go down the list. There's noise gate and noise suppression. These two are very different, but sometimes people get them mixed up. So what a noise gate is if you look at my mic when I'm not talking, it's kind of not doing it right now. Well, it's kind of going anyway. I could probably... I don't know if I should mess with it. It's fine. But when I'm not talking, and when not enough sound is coming through the microphone, then it just turns off. I can probably do this, actually. Can I do... Oof. Okay, that's a bit better. So what I did was I changed the order, so now noise suppression is on top. Because another thing that's good to know with these audio filters is that the order really matters, like really matters. So they'll resolve from top to bottom. So right now it's going through noise suppression first, then noise gate, then compressor, then equalizer, then limiter. So this should work better. So now when I stop talking, it'll turn off. Mostly. My computer fan's kind of loud right now. But yeah, this is what a noise gate does, is when there's not enough sound, it'll just turn off the mic so it makes no noise. Noise suppression is like what you have on Discord, where it'll try to cut out noises that aren't human voice. So it'll try to cut out, like, if I'm snapping. It got some of them, or if I'm like tapping the desk or typing. Yeah, it's not picking that up. So if I turn this off, you'll be able to hear a lot more of that. Yeah, you can really hear the claps then. So this is really useful if you just have like a noisy fan in your room, if you have like people walking around your house a lot, if you have like upstairs neighbors like stomping around. This is what noise suppression is. It's not a noise gate. A noise gate will turn off the sound if there's not enough noise coming through. I can talk about this also too. On the noise gate, open threshold is how loud the input needs to be for the gate to open. And then close threshold is how quiet it needs to be for the gate to close. So actually, this should be more like this, because the open threshold should be higher. Wait, can I adjust this right now? Let's see. Testing, 1 2 1 2. Let's put this like here, maybe. Okay, that might be better. But yeah, this is something you might just want to like mess around with, like off stream, and check like just your natural talking voice, like is it loud enough to open this? You don't want to have to like really yell to get this to open up, but you also want it like, you want it just enough where it's like, you know, your computer fan isn't setting it off. Attack, hold time, release time, this is like how long it waits for the noise to change for it to turn off. you don't want any of these to be 0. Pretty much anytime it asks for like attack release, you don't want it to be 0, because then you can start getting like audio clicks. You might be like, well, I want it to be like very responsive. It can be bad because you can get like little clicks from the waveform jumping down too quickly. I'm surprised, yeah, 10 milliseconds is probably enough. But yeah, as long as it's not 0, it should be fine. You want the attack to be pretty quick, so when you start talking, it comes up quickly. Now we can look at a compressor. This is your best friend when your mic is not very loud, like mine. If I turn this off, let's see how loud I am. Hey guys, hey, I'm over here. Hey, I'm talking. Look at how loud I am. Yeah, it's pretty quiet. So a compressor, it kind of does two things. The first thing it does is, actually I can show this in Ableton because it'll probably be more clear. Let's do this real quick. Let's bring up Ableton. Let's make it bigger because I made it smaller. And actually, let's zoom in right on the bottom here. Yep. You actually don't even need to see the instrument that much. Let's put a compressor on this channel. Compressor. Stop the background for 1 second. Oh, this is still really high pitched, I forgot. And let's make this sound a little more interesting. Like so. Okay, so you can see this little graph over here. Let's blow this up. This is kind of scuffed, but it's fine. So we have our compressor here, and as I play a note, you can see this little like shaded waveform in the back. So there's two things with the compressor. So first is there's a threshold. And what the threshold does is when we lower it, what this is doing is anything that's above this threshold line will actually be reduced in volume. So you can see this little yellow line up here, how it goes down. This is showing the volume reduction that the compressor is doing. So I could bring this all the way down and you can hear it gets way quieter. So the reason why this is useful is if you have a noise, or in this case a microphone, and you get some noises that are really loud, like plosives, for example, like puh, buh, right? Stuff like that. You kind of don't want those to be too loud, because it's just, that'll really stand out against everything else. If you're like, hey guys, today I'm gonna play some, you don't want it to be like too extreme. This kind of smooths everything out, so that everything's a more similar volume. You don't have any huge peaks in volume. This isn't the best. Actually, can we just... And if I take this off, you can kind of tell. So that's the first thing, is you can change the threshold to change, make it so that loud sounds aren't as loud. So the lower the threshold, how do I describe it? When the threshold is lower, then more sounds will be compressed, meaning that they will be lowered in volume. The other thing is, once you lower the volume on some stuff, you can then change the output volume and make it louder. So, that's pretty loud. So the reason why you do this is you kind of make everything a similar volume, and then you raise the volume on everything, so everything is louder. So this is really useful on OBS. Let's get back over here for one sec. Yeah. This is useful on OBS. You can see I have output gain here, 16 decibels, which is a ton. I can probably turn this down, honestly. But this output gain here will make it so that your mic is overall louder. I have the threshold set here so that, you know, really loud plosives will get kind of tuned down a bit. But then we have the output gain here to make everything louder. Because my mic is naturally pretty quiet, because it's a dynamic mic. Well, actually no, because it's an XLR mic, it's not a USB mic. And there are some issues with XLR mics just being kind of quiet. In general, if you know anything about like mixing with a mixer, mic signal is so quiet. You have to put a ton of gain on it. So it's really not that uncommon. I'm going to turn this output gain down a little bit because I'm hitting the peak a lot, I'm noticing, just from talking. I am like enunciating quite a lot today. So yeah, mic signal in general is very quiet, especially with an XLR microphone. With a USB microphone, you probably won't need as much output gain because I think they have like some built-in preamp or something like that. And the other stuff in here, ratio. This is how much the louder sounds get compressed. You don't need to change it too much, I think, unless you're like really like peaking and getting like really strong plosives or like loud sounds. I guess if you're like really like up close kissing the mic. Sorry if this sounds weird, but like, if you're really close to your microphone, you could get a lot louder plosives, so you might want to change the ratio. Also, just general mic knowledge. When you're talking into a mic, especially a dynamic mic, you should try to be pretty close to the mic. Like, I know for singing, the rule is you want to be able to put like a fist between the microphone and your mouth, and that's like a good distance. Attack release, same thing, just make sure they're not 0 and try to get them pretty low. You should also like, don't be afraid to just do a little recording of talking and like with some audio and just see how it sounds. I think you can set up an audio monitoring situation, which I haven't tried yet, but that's also a useful thing. Basically what that does is it lets you listen to your audio output on a separate channel. I'm pretty sure OBS has the capabilities to do that, but you also need to have like multiple audio outs on your sound card or on your audio interface or digital USB mixer, whatever you might use, and a lot of people don't have that, so yeah. We also have an equalizer here. So this is just a very simple 3-band equalizer, and all an equalizer does is it either boosts or reduces certain frequency ranges in the audio source. So for my voice, I have the high pitches brought up a little bit and the low pitches brought down. Something to note, this is not shifting the pitch of anything, because when any noise that's made has natural harmonics in it, meaning that there'll be like a fundamental note. So if I'm going like, oh, there's the one note, right? Oh, but there's extra noise in there, and that's where the higher pitches are and like the mid pitches are. It's kind of hard to explain without drawing a diagram, but this isn't changing the pitch of anything. I might be able to show you. So if I bring the highs down, I'll start to sound more muffled, like I'm talking behind a wall or something. So I'm going to keep talking and it's going to start sounding more and more muffled because I'm bringing the highs out. I don't know what this sounds like because again, I don't have a monitoring setup, but yeah. And then if I bring it out, if I bring it higher, I'm going to sound more tinny because just more of the highs are being emphasized. That's pretty much it. It's like an emphasis versus a de-emphasis, I suppose. So I have the highs out just so some things in my voice are a little more clear. And then the mids are reduced slightly, and the lows are reduced by quite a bit. The reason for this is because, especially with the dynamic mic, you can get a lot of low frequencies, which can kind of muddy up your sound. So I bring some of them out, or I take some of them out so that it's a little more clear, is my hope, at least. If I bring this up, I'm going to sound really bassy and boomy, and it's going to sound really, like, muddy and bad. So, yeah, it's, you know, this is what it sounds like with a lot of low frequency. So, yeah. This is another thing where you just have to mess with it, you know, do a recording of yourself, see what it sounds like. Or if you can set up the audio monitoring, that's cool. Last, and probably the most important thing, or at least like one of the most useful things in OBS audio filters, is a limiter. What a limiter does is it pretty much just puts a cap on the volume. I just hit my mic a little, that's fine. It puts a cap on the volume so that it shouldn't be able to go higher than that. So here on my mic I have this threshold, and this is basically my cap. So I have my threshold at -4 decibels. Usually, with everything that I've been doing, basically what I'm trying to do is get my voice as close to the top of the red, without it peaking or sounding bad. But again, it doesn't have to be like fully zero. That's like something you don't really have to worry about getting it like as high as possible. You can give yourself a little room. So I have it at -4. I could put it at like -1 or -0, but the thing with that is that the limiter is kind of like just a really hard compressor. So stuff can still go over if it's really loud. So you always want to leave a little headroom. So I have -4 because I don't really need to be louder than that. That's no big deal. You could do like -2, -1, but that's getting a little scary. But this is really nice because it prevents clipping or, you know, like audio peaking. So if I have this on here at -4, I should just not be able to peak. And this was, I noticed my mic was peaking earlier because I had my effects ordered like this. So the equalizer was last, and now if I talked really loud, I could probably get it to peak OBS. I'm gonna try it real quick. Okay, it's not working. Well, I couldn't get it to peak. If I talked really loud, maybe. But it's just a reminder that your order really matters. You want the limiter to be last, because if you have the limiter like up here and then something else is boosting it, then it's not really limiting it at the end, right? You want it at the end. So that's what I have on my mic. For pretty much everything else, I don't have anything on it. Like on game audio, I think I just have a limiter. Like, you can put a limiter on everything, but like just in case you're worried about audio peaking, you can totally just put a limiter on everything, and that's like honestly not a bad idea. But for everything else, I don't. You can also set up ducking. So, I like just made the foobar source, so there's nothing on it. I'll put a limiter on foobar. Let's just make the same -4. Oh yeah, the other thing actually is when you have multiple, because there's no master channel, master audio output in OBS, when you mix multiple signals together, even if they're limited, you can still peak. So you actually probably want a little more threshold on it. I'll just keep it at -4 for now though. So on my BGM, one thing I can do is, how do I do this again? Is it this? Yes, okay. So one thing that you can do, and some people like doing this, is you can duck the audio. So let's say I have my BGM here, and I want it to duck or get quieter momentarily when Ableton makes a sound. So right now it's not doing that. So here I have the compressor window open, and then there's at the bottom here sidechain/ducking source. I can set this, and I have all my stuff here. Let's see. Just pull this over here because I don't remember what's in this list. Oh, Ableton right there. Oh, no. Ableton right there. So now when I play a note in Ableton, you'll see this audio get reduced by a lot. At least you should. Oh, hang on. Need to change. Yeah, there you go. So it depends on the ratio. So if let's just max it out. No, it is working. It's working. Oh, it depends on the threshold and ratio, I believe. Sorry if I'm changing the audio, the sound on this. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So yeah, you set a lower threshold. Yeah, I believe how it works with ducking is the threshold now no longer applies to the original source. It applies to the source that's being fed in. So if I have threshold of -60, which is the lowest, then when I play, it's gonna just completely destroy the volume of this, as you can see. And then it comes back when the sound goes away. And then ratio is how much it compresses it by. So let's see if I can do, if I set it to like this, or that's just nothing. Yeah, see, it doesn't go all the way down. So yeah, that can be something that is useful if you want your game audio pretty loud, but you still want to be able to talk and people to hear you. You can do this as well, just to make it clear. I personally don't like it. I feel like it can be distracting, but it's totally up to you. If you like the ducking, then go for it. I think that's about it. So yeah, this is really my main trick here, is the loudness meter. All that stuff about filters is like, that's just good to know in general. But the loudness is really how I just will like mix stuff on the fly. I'm gonna hide Ableton because it's distracting me. Right, so if I have my audio and if I'm talking, look, I'm talking, yeah. See, it's at like -17 or something. That's about where I want my mic to be. And then if I want to check where the background music is, I can just stop talking for a second. And okay, it's at like a -30. See, I can look at the momentary here. And that's basically how I get a good idea of like where audio levels are on my stream, just while I'm going live. Because yeah, it can be really annoying, and audio can be like a mystery sometimes, where it's like, this thing says it's not loud at all, but everyone says it's super loud. Like if you're playing a Game Boy game, especially, or like an old NES game, because those games are all like sawtooth waves and square waves, they tend to be way louder than they say they are. So yeah, that is pretty much all I got. Does anyone have any questions about just audio or mixing or anything in general? Hi, Asha. I'm gonna hide my OBS because it's stressing me out being on screen. Yeah, I just wanted to, I had time right now, so I was like, I could do a little audio tutorial that I've been putting off. I'm trying to think. Generally, no. I feel like most people have like a good hold, and a hold on like what they're looking for sound-wise. And as long as you mess around with stuff and look some stuff up, I think like you can get it into a good spot. No, I can't think of anything that pops out on your stream, Asha. It's just like, it's always like the tricky part is always just the live mixing of audio. Okay, there is a few things you can do. So you could lower the threshold on. Oh, hang on, we gotta bring the screen back. So no, there's ways to get around plosives. You could lower the threshold on your compressor. So that means that, although you wouldn't want to lower it too much, that means that like quieter sounds will start to get compressed. You could also increase the ratio. So if it's just in the plosive range, then the plosives will be reduced more. And that would be maybe what you're looking for. The other thing is, if you don't have a pop filter for your microphone, that might be something that you want to get. I don't know if you do or don't. But a pop filter is a super... they just get super quiet. Yeah, that's what the compressor is supposed to be doing. Yeah. Yeah, it might... I see what you mean. It might be like when you do a big plosive, everything, or your whole voice gets kind of quiet. That is kind of just how it is. You have a foam filter. You might want to look into like a full-on pop filter, because if it's just a foam cover, that's okay. That's usually more like a windscreen to reduce wind noise, which is plosives, but you might want to get like a legit pop filter. Let me pull it. Can I pull it? Oh my god, it's huge. Hang on. I might have just messed up my layout, but it's fine. There we go. Can I click the right thing? Nope. I don't understand how OBS works sometimes. I just want to move the image that I just put on. Oh well. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about... Oh. Why is it... Oh, I see. I mean, plosives are just wind, really. So it is reducing it by some, but you might want to get like an actual clip-on pop filter. That'll probably help out a bit. Yeah, something like that. They're pretty cheap. If that's just normal for a compressor, though, then I'm not too fussed about it. Yeah, I mean, it should reduce it a bit more, but that is just kind of normal, where if you're really loud, then it'll start bringing it down. Yes, that is actually something you can do. You can make a pop filter out of women's stockings, and it works pretty well, apparently. Yeah, if the pop filter works out, then you can probably maybe not raise the threshold, but you could reduce the ratio on your compressor so that it doesn't kill your mic as much. Okay, cool. Any other questions? Anything else people are wondering about? Just adjusting stuff. glad you enjoyed it, Sumpy. Handling friends audio, so... Right, so this would be kind of the same thing. So... I could, let me see. You would kind of do the same thing where you just let them talk and then you'd adjust. Do you want to? I see. Oh, let me see. Yeah, it would be a different sound source. Hey, Asha, do you have time right now? Would it be crazy if you just called me real quick? I've literally never set up Discord audio. So we'll figure it out. We'll do it live. Okay, no problem. I can probably start setting up Discord. I also don't put my Discord in streamer mode, which is insane. So I can just hear like pinging while I'm streaming usually. It's 12:30. Yeah, there's plenty of time. Oh my, hello? Can you hear me? Hang on, let me check my, hang on, let me check my audio. Oh, Discord hates me, hang on. What is going on? You fall, no, that's fine. What's yeah, I think it's on your end. Oh, hello, okay. Let me adjust your... I can hear you now. Cool. That'll do it. Okay, yeah, stream can't hear you right now, but I'm gonna set up an audio source. So I'll do add source and then application audio capture. This application audio capture is so nice. I think it's not a thing on Mac yet, which is tragic. So let's do Discord. Is someone else chatting with me? You might hear pings. Because I don't have fucking streamer mode. Create new Discord. And then I always set it to Windows same executable and then set to Discord. You can see my window list, but that's fine. Okay, so now you should be able to hear Asha.
Hello Twitch.
So here, let me do this real quick. I'm gonna turn off the BGM for a sec. Can you do like a test, like testing, 1, 2, 3.
Testing. Test 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1. Test microphone.
Yeah, that's good. That's always the struggle when you're testing microphones. Like, I don't know what to say. And then you just keep saying 1, 2, 1, 2 over and over.
You should just pull out like a shopping list or something and just start reading off like things you need.
Yeah, so I have Discord here now, and when Asha was talking, I could probably bring my mic down a little bit just to meet them. But when Asha was talking, is around like -17, so that's pretty good. That's pretty comparable to my mic, I would say. But that's pretty much what you would do. You would let them talk for a little and then kind of adjust. And then, you can always check in the middle of the stream, like, if say your Discord guest is, going on a rant about something, be like, oh, let me look at what their audio is like real quick and just see how it is compared. But yeah, and then also remember you can turn stuff up and down in Discord. Yeah. If you're not on Windows, then you can't do the application audio capture, and I think you just have to do desktop audio unless you get the like virtual audio cables, which do work, but they're just kind of annoying.
Yeah, I switched to application audio capture and just doing audio all through that, and it's way more convenient and way easier to mix, especially for yourself when you're like, say you're playing a game and you have to listen to someone, and it's, if it's loud for you, then it might be loud for people watching, and it's really tough to balance.
Yeah, it's just like more moving parts. So yeah, unfortunately it's not on Mac yet. You can just like raw dog it with desktop audio, which is always like scary to me, but
I was doing that for years personally, and I'm glad I switched out of that.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're like, it's fine, honestly, as long as you turn off like notifications for whatever, and you're not opening up like random links. It's probably fine.
Something I noticed, maybe worth mentioning, I'm not sure. I have some friends on Discord who, maybe it's just the way their microphone is. I noticed that they have like very weird like volume. Like they could be talking and sometimes they're very quiet, but sometimes it'll be really loud. Like it's like an inconsistent, I don't know, volume level.
Yeah.
And my way around that was, I think it's been ages since I've configured the filter, but what I did was I think I did a compressor so that it would always hit, or I don't know if it's compressor. It's something like that. Something that makes it kind of hit a minimum like volume level, I think.
Yeah, that would work. Because it's kind of the same idea where the compressor is really, people say it's to like flatten out the sound. So it will make the loud things quieter and the quieter things louder to just kind of be like the same level. So yeah, that would totally work if you set the problem is you'd have to like set, depending on who you're collabing with, you'd need to set a compressor for like each person, but I guess you could just label it in OBS.
I've been using a compressor just in general for like all of Discord audio, and it's been fine as far as I can tell across everybody. I also have a limiter on there too, just in case. yeah,
that's usually the way to go. Like for mics, like compressor limiter always is like totally fine. Yeah.
And then just adjust audio within Discord itself from there. But that's how I do that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the demonstration. And I have Discord audio set up now. Actually, I'm not saving this layout because I messed with stuff. But but yeah, thank you, guest star Asha. I should have put a little monkey on screen or something.
Here, I got you. Wait, hang on. There. Okay. All right.
Perfect. I'm blocking it. All right. That was Asha, ladies and gentlemen. I'm blocking the monkey. Now you can see it. So yeah, that's pretty much it, unless anyone else has questions. That's you. Yeah, definitely, like, you could just put a limiter on Discord, and I should just put my Discord in streamer mode. Or not a limiter, compressor and limiter on Discord, in that order. And that'll kind of flatten out everyone's mic. So even if you're collaborating with multiple people, it should kind of keep everyone at a similar volume. You just kind of have to hope that no one is like, no one has their fan on or something. That is kind of the danger with a heavy compressor, is like, if there is background noise, like if someone's not using noise suppression, then that'll all come through and be loud because you'd raise the volume of everything. So just, yeah, I guess make sure your collab partners are like, it's like, hey, can you turn on noise suppression? Can you turn the fan off or something? Yeah, okay, I think that's all I got. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, you can do... Do I know what equalizer APO is? Let me see. You can do external audio processing. Oh, is this where you can increase your mic volume? I need to set this up again because my mic is just quiet. But you can do external audio processing for audio sources. You can do that, but it's annoying because then you do need virtual audio cables to send. Basically, you would take like Discord out. Let's say I want to do from Discord. You do like Discord, and then you do a cable out to an audio processing software, and then you take the audio out from that and put it into an audio out capture on OBS. You can do stuff like that. It's just annoying. But then you can do really powerful stuff. Like if I really wanted to, I could put my microphone directly into like Ableton or directly into like VCV rack and then start doing modular stuff with my microphone. And then take the audio output from that and send it into OBS. Actually, it'd be pretty easy with VCV rack, but you can do external audio processing, but it's just here. Let me see something real quick. Let me try something real quick. Oh, I have a patch going. Okay, hang on. Let's get this out of here. Yeah, virtual audio cables, like they work, but they're just annoying. So what would I do for this? I can actually, can I do this easy? Let me think. I think with my interface there is an easy way to do it. But I forget. But I think, yeah, generally I would need, if I wanted to do some fucked up modular thing and then have my mic go into it and then come out and then go into OBS, I think I generally would need an audio cable so I could do audio out to the audio cable and then into this, because otherwise it's just my master out, which is desktop audio at that point. Equalizer APO applies directly to your mic. You can use it with plugins anywhere. Yeah, I think I did set that up in the past, but then I had to reformat my computer. So I was like, fuck, I gotta set it up again. And it was annoying as hell to set up. So it's just like, whatever. Because yeah, my mic is very quiet on Discord. You probably could hear that, Asha. My mic is pretty quiet on Discord because, like I said before, it's a dynamic XLR microphone, and I'm boosting it as much as I can in my audio interface, but it's not enough. So you can set up, like what Asha's saying, equalizer APO. Is that fine? Okay. You can set stuff up, but that would be a whole separate tutorial because it's a hassle to set up. Yeah, unfortunately, with XLR mics, like, you can't... It's kind of annoying to set, like, a master gain just through Windows, not through OBS. Yeah. Yeah, and I think I could do this with VCV Rack, but I forget exactly how, and I think generally you would need virtual audio cables, so never mind. Yeah, and finding all the plugins and stuff. Alright, anything else? So the differences between a USB and XLR mic. XLR is the type of cable, which is what like most recording studio mics are XLR. They're a balanced cable, which means that I did air quotes, but you can't see. They're a balanced cable, which means that they like won't get interference, and I forget exactly how they're better, but it means they like don't get interference, so you won't pick up like radio signal on them, which can be a thing with longer like unbalanced cables. And I think that's the main thing, is they don't pick up other signals. And maybe because with like the length of cables, it can also like over long distances degrade the audio quality. Something like that. So it's just a very clean audio signal is kind of the main thing. And I think technically USB, yeah, typically you run them into a audio interface. So I have what is this? This is a Motu M4. Or there's also like Focusrite Scarlett. Those are like another cheap option. Or if you have a digital mixer, or a USB mixer, not a digital mixer. If you have a USB mixer, you could also plug it directly into that and then have that go into your computer. That's usually how you would set up an XLR mic. USB mics are just simpler. And they're just simpler, and they also are like pretty much just as good. The main thing with USB is I think the audio quality is like technically not as good, but if you're streaming, if you're just fucking streaming and you need a microphone, it doesn't really matter that much. But it's kind of like, well, my reasoning is like, well, I can use this for like, recording stuff too if I want to record like an instrument. That's pretty much my thought process, like, well, I have this mic already for like recording stuff. Yeah, USB mics are totally fine, and they're much easier. You need less equipment, and they also don't have the issue of being quiet. The only thing, this always happens to me with USB stuff, is like after they get plugged in for a long time, they just kind of like stop working until you unplug and replug them. I think there is a setting that you can set, and I think I have it set on this installation of Windows, where it's like USB things never get powered down. I forget. But I have noticed that with like just some USB stuff generally. I don't know. Yeah, XLR mics, they work just as good, and they are technically higher quality. But if you just want a mic to use, just use a USB mic. Yeah. I mean, hey, a ton of people stream on like wireless headsets, and that works fine. I can't do the headset life. It's not for me. Yeah. Also, I feel like it's so easy to like just like eat your mic, just like have it way too close to your mouth on the headset. I'm thinking about Tyler One's headset. He's always screaming into that thing. It's always like touching his lips while he's talking. Oh, sorry. I inhaled some coffee. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, that's just always the thing with headsets. It's always like blown out, I feel like. I mean, that is one thing, is like, filters can't really fix like a bad audio signal. So if it is just like, if you're already clipping like pre-filters, then there's not really anything you can do. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much your plosive problem, but like to the max, where if the mic is close enough to your mouth, then like literally everything just turns into a plosive because it's just catching all the air. Yeah, that's like the biggest weakness of microphone, or microphones' secret weakness is just wind. Microphones hate wind. Yeah. Do tests. Like I did quite a few tests of just like, I would do like a local recording and I'd have like music or like a YouTube video playing, and then I tried talking over it. And I'd say like, okay, I'd be like, here's my microphone at minus 5 decibels. Here's my microphone at, and then I'd like turn it up and be like, here's my microphone at 0 decibels. And then I'd like change it or whatever. And I'd do like EQ. Here's my EQ, low at minus 6 decibels. How do I sound? Blah, 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 da, 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 da. And then I'd be like, okay, here's my microphone at, yeah. It's totally like, it is just useful to just, you know, test it out, and then, you know, see how it sounds. Doing stuff live, like, if you know what you're doing, and with the techniques that I taught you, it'll be easy. But it is good to just kind of get stuff set up like beforehand, and doing tests like that is just a great way to do it. And also, like, I will go back on, I'll like check my streams, because those are just long recordings as well. I'll check and like be like, oh, how does this sound? Is it too loud? I think like my first couple streams, the game audio was like, it was in range what I was looking for, but it was like, oh, this is pretty loud. Like, it's a little distracting, so I think I've turned it down a little since then. But yeah, just, you know, play it by ear, do recordings, do tests, figure it out. Yeah, because yeah, getting used to your own voice, that's always a tough thing. But you just think of it as like, it's for science, you know? It's like, I'm not here to listen to my voice, I'm just here to check the audio levels. Also, it can be good to just check Twitch, because this is another thing, is that like audio encoding and stuff like that is weird. Or like, it might sound okay in your test, and then it might sound a little different on Twitch. This is just how it is. You could also, if you're insane and you want to, I mean, not insane, but if you want to like if you want to like really make sure your streams are super accessible, you could even, for example, try watching one of your streams on like phone or iPad and see how it sounds there for like mixing purposes, because those speakers will sound very different from computer headphones. Because yeah, that's the whole thing too, is like different speaker systems will sound very different. Like you could do that, that's a lot of extra work, and it's also like not going to be too indicative of everyone's setup, but you could capture, or you could like, you know, check out kind of what it sounds like on a phone. The main difference is like on a phone speaker, there's no bass. There's no fucking bass at all. Yeah, and there's like not as much mid. It's just like, it's just mid and high pretty much. That's kind of me too. I kind of have been enjoying the sound of my own voice more, but not in like an ego way. Chill, guys. I just like, it's, you know, don't worry about it. Yeah, Higa. That's the thing with condensers is condensers are really good at picking up the like little tiny details in your voice, because they're really sensitive, but they're really sensitive, so they pick up fucking everything. Like if I had a condenser mic and like someone in the other room is like talking, you would hear that shit. Thank you. Also, if your room is echoey, you can always just like put up, I was gonna say posters, but those don't do much. Like you can put up like a rug or like tapestry or something like that. Because that's another thing, yeah. If you have like bare walls and like not much stuff in your room, then room treatment's a whole thing. If you have like an empty room, your room is like kind of empty, doesn't have that much stuff in it, then your voice can echo a lot and make it just really muddy, hard to understand. Yeah. So like you could get the fucking streamer foam. You put those fucking squares and stuff. That stuff does really work, and it does help out. If you don't want to do that and you have like a blanket laying around or like a nice textile or tapestry or rug or something that you can hang that up, because that'll absorb a lot of sound. And like even just having like one or two things on the wall can really help with that. But yeah, echoey rooms, that's another thing that can be a problem for sure. Yeah, oh, you're moving, yeah, and it's gonna be empty. Just put some shit on the walls. Yeah, you could buy, how much is that? How much is I keep calling it the streamer foam because you see all the big streamers with it. But like, it's just like the audio, what do they call it? Can I just search room treatment foam and that works? The germafoam, exactly. Acoustic foam, that's what they call it. Acoustic foam panels, 12 pack, 1 inch by 12 inch by 12 inch. 12 of those. That'd probably be okay. That's $12, Amazon, US. This is stream I saw it. Yeah, I know, Germa always has the foam. There's like the clip of the foam falling on him, I think. Or maybe no, that might have been NL's foam that fell on him. Yeah, if you don't want to buy acoustic foam, because it's kind of, acoustic foam works, but it's just like, other than that, that's all it's good for. Just hang up like a blanket. Like especially if you have a bare wall. My room just has a bunch of shit in it, so it probably helps. But I do have like a kind of bare wall that just has some posters on it. Like I could put a blanket there if it sounded like it was a problem, but I think it sounds okay. I think it's okay. And also, yeah, having a dynamic mic would help with that for sure, because you'd get less of the echo. Dynamic mics more than condenser mics. Like, the sound really needs to be pretty close to it for it to even pick it up, because it's like a plastic diaphragm, so it actually needs to like be moved quite a bit. Foam on the walls behind their PC. I don't know if it matters that it's behind the PC specifically. Like, that's not going to stop fan noise. It'll stop the fan noise from echoing, I suppose. But you kind of just want to cover up like bare patches in the wall. Like, it's not going to do much if it's like in the corners of your of your walls. You kind of want it to cover like the big like empty parts. Hi, Gridra.